Welcome back to the Havana Hollywood. I'm Jamie Blanco. I am joined by Colin Langford, a local filmmaker, creative. We are very excited to have you on the show. You are a Massachusetts native, and right now you are working towards a project, a film for next year, called Whispers, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Whispers.
So
We start production in March of 2025.
which is really, really exciting. So I'm going to give folks a quick overview of what this project is about, and then we'll dive right in.
Yeah.
So Whispers is about a young woman who reconnects with her tragically divided family and begins to unravel horrifying secrets about her own lineage and the true nature of her rapidly developing pregnancy. So this sounds to me like horror and scary movies. Is that sort of your genre du jour of choice?
No, actually not. I could probably count on two hands how many horror films I've genuinely really enjoyed. This one just kind of came together organically. It's not, I think most horror films, for lack of a better phrase, are just, gore porn or, cheap jump scares or things of that nature. Um, And this one came together. I've always like, if you put all of the horror films that I really love in a room, if you stripped the supernatural elements away, it still functions as a really gripping story, you know? For instance, like Hereditary, right? That's a pretty recent, pretty classic one. If you take away the supernatural elements, it still works as um, a really great drama, you know? Um, and this one was yeah, really cool. There's a lot of more psychologically driven elements to it, which I was really excited about getting into. Just kind of, the ambiguity and the the sort of the mystery and the fears and whatnot of becoming a
Mm,
parent, you know. And there's a lot of symbolism around that. And yeah, that's
that's
long-winded answer
exciting.
to a short question, but
No,
yes,
no,
a
that's
lot of really cool, sort of more subtle, more sinister elements that I was really pleased with how everything all kind of came together.
that's perfect. Yeah. So my co-host James, he's big into horror and scary and psychological thriller. I also more enjoy like the psychological character driven sort of stories. Tell us a little bit about this project. You said it's getting underway in March. Do you have an Indiegogo? Do you have, a group together that's ready to film and create this? Tell us a little bit about where you are in the process.
Yeah, we're, round third headed for home as far as just getting all of our ducks in a row. Um, got an amazing team. Ayana Lynn De Simone is our lead. She's going to be supported by Michelle Faith and Francesca Minerviti, as well as John Potman. Um, got a badass cinematographer from Los Angeles. His name's Cousteau Christopher. He's won some awards. That he's very much into the horror genre, so I'm just out of my mind excited to work with him. Um, I have Alex Kraus working as an AC as well, and from Kraus House Productions, and yeah, just really awesome group of girls, guys, and just contagious energy, you know. Um, just really excited to work with everybody.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And so, tell us a little bit more about your background as a filmmaker. You and I, fellow Methuen-ites,
Mhm.
here in northern Massachusetts. I feel like we need to be making more movies in northern Mass. Like everything is in southern and in Boston. Um, Tell us how you got started. Have you always been here in Massachusetts, or what got you into filmmaking?
Yeah, there's no epic story behind it. I when it came time to, you know, go to college, a lot of my friends were going to, and cool. I wanted to drop myself into a completely new environment where I didn't know anybody and it was kind of by myself. Went out to a small little place in the Midwest, took some theater classes and just fell in love with it, you know.
Yeah.
Ended up coming back And I had heard that if you wanted to become a better writer or just, a better anything in filmmaking, you should do stand up. So I
Heard
just
that too.
started I just started hitting up, open mics and just, saying stuff that I thought was funny. Ended up meeting some guys, some like-minded creatives, and you just like bounce ideas off of people. And those ideas started to become scripts and outlines and things of that nature. And I settled on one that was it was a crime thriller. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what a shot list was. I didn't
Hmm.
know anything. I was just like, I'm just gonna, throw the kitchen sink at it and see what happens. And just roped in some resources, and just threw myself into it. And it was my first baby, and it was just an incredible, incredible experience. Um, and then the world shut down, and that's when the pandemic hit. So things started opening back up, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to thrust myself back into it,
Hmm.
and have done two or three shorts, like 20 minutes and some change in that arena. um and then this opportunity presented itself, and I couldn't have said yes fast enough.
That's incredible. Where can people see some of your work some of the things that you've done so far?
Yeah, I have some stuff, like I'm so anti like socials, it's ridiculous. Like I don't have really much of anything. I'm the only reason I'm on Facebook is, so I can network with people like yourself and things like that. I post most of my links right in my bio, just like, trailers, reels, clips, things like that. Um, but you
Yeah.
gave me a homework assignment. I definitely need to bulk
Well,
up the portfolio a little bit.
we'll make sure that we have your links down below so that people can find you, and help contribute to, your projects and things like that, and follow the things
Sure.
that you are doing. So tell me a little bit about working in Massachusetts. A lot of what we talk about here on the Hub on Hollywood is the film industry in New England. It had been booming, and now we're in a little bit of a lull.
Mhm.
Talk to me about working here and the kinds of talents and creatives you've been able to connect with, here in Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, that is a really, really great question. I think there's a lot of, just looking back, there's a lot of rich history in New England, Massachusetts, Boston specifically, right? Like some of the great films of all time took place here.
Yeah.
You've got Good Will Hunting and Jaws and The Town and The Lighthouse. And there's just, I think it gets overlooked a lot because I think, of course, we sort of associate filmmaking with you have to go to LA and,
Hmm.
win a golden ticket and know somebody who knows somebody. And, I think there's just a lot of really clever, creative, hardworking people out here, that are, you're seeing more and more of people that just like, you know what, to hell with it, right? Like, I'm just going to
Hmm.
bootstrap this and do it myself, you know, which is really contagious. And that's really cool to see, right? Because, um, you know, there's more ways to access things as far as, online or streaming or, theaters are still alive and well. Um, it's just really cool to see people that the word that comes to mind is like fearless, you know.
Yeah.
One of my mentors, one of the coolest things he ever said to me was, if you want to get into this game, there are people out there who have more resources than you, they're more talented than you, and they work harder than you. Knowing that, do you still want to do this? And this is where the money people usually fall off,
Hmm.
right? Like, yes, you want to make a career out of it and all those good things and take care of your family and things like that. Um, but that's just, going to networking events and film festivals and, things like that. You just meet people that they just bleed this stuff, You know what I mean? Like they just it just makes sense to them, right? And there's just a hunger and a desire, and people are just getting really smart and really innovative, and they're shooting blockbuster. I think 28 years later is coming out. They shot that on an iPhone,
Hmm.
so people just are taking no for an answer less and less, you know,
Right.
um, and that's really really cool to see.
I love that. And I love that description because I've encountered those people myself, especially here. And that's why we're called the Hub on Hollywood, because Hollywood is here. This is like Hollywood East now. So it's really exciting to see not only just the big blockbusters like you were talking about, but the indie filmmakers, the up and comers with great ideas and great energy. And it's such a robust sort of community that we have here in New England. A big shout out to Julia, who we met
Yeah,
through.
Julie, if
Um,
you're watching this, we love you.
yeah, who runs the Friendly Filmmaker,
Hmm.
which is a great little resource connecting folks who want to make movies, act in movies, and whatnot. So it's really beautiful to see that kind of community come together. But Colin, what's the ultimate dream? Where are you fighting towards?
I would say the ultimate dream. I think what's like everybody's got that one thing, you know, where
Mhm.
just I think it's from Good Will Hunting. You remember the scene in Good Will Hunting where he goes, "I could always just play,"
Mhm.
and this just
Yeah.
makes sense to me. I think for us, this just makes sense to us. And sometimes it is hard to quantify, but this might sound a bit macabre, but ultimately, there's going to come a day where we're not here anymore, like physically, right?
Mhm.
And, the idea of financial freedom and seeing your name up in bright lights, like that's cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think anybody would say no to that. But being able to create something that lives past your physical being, you know,
Mhm.
and creating something that lives beyond you, I think that's really fascinating, and you know, 100 years from now, when you and I are both, on to the next life, if there's a kid somewhere who sees a film that you made or just like a scene, and just for a second they think it's possible to do whatever it is they want to do, that's a really really cool thing to think about, you know.
I agree.
That's a
Yeah, I
really
agree.
cool thing to think about because, you know, I'm sure you get inspiration from a variety of places, right? Whether it's, a song you hear on the radio, or maybe you're watching a movie and that inspires you to go talk to this person, or even like just small little or, you're in a rut, like you're really struggling and you turn on like Bugs Bunny or something just to feel better for 5 minutes, you know?
Hmm.
Um, I think those little moments are really, really cool. I think that would be the ultimate dream, is and it's a great responsibility, I would say, to create something that lives beyond
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
I love that. I think, yeah, if you can touch even one life, you change someone, you share that story, you express, that's worth it. Do you have a favorite story that you like to tell? Is there a kind of story, that is your favorite, or a kind of character, or
Yeah, I would say, I mean, stories that aren't afraid to show you, they're not afraid to be authentic, you know. Stories that like I don't think audiences like being preached to, right?
mm,
And we talked about like the culture shifting away from Hollywood. I think that's why people aren't really responding as well to what's coming out of traditional Hollywood now.
Mm-hmm.
Is because they're being told what they should believe and what they should think, and that's why people are kind of adverse to that. I think films or any sort of media that just shows you something and then asks you, "What do you think? What do you make of this?"
Mm-hmm. Right.
I like films and stories that ask questions, you know, um, questions that, and sometimes there's not always a clear answer. It's not always this or that, right? Um, yeah, characters that just are like, they're like us. They're deeply, deeply flawed, you know. Simple characters. Oftentimes it's not that complicated what somebody wants, you know. Um, the complications arise in like, you know, the obstacles that arise and the manner in which you have to go get it, right? But the idea is usually pretty simple. Um, yeah,
Right.
that's what yeah, that's a
Char Character driven.
character. Yeah,
Char
I mean, in general, character driven, I think works better than plot driven.
mm,
Like for instance, if I said, "Oh, this is a World War II story about the Operation Phoenix," or "This is a story about three young kids who want to be war heroes." It's the same story. It's all quiet on the Western Front, right? But the second one, that description would grab that resonates with people more, right?
right.
But yeah, I would say simple stories, the best ones are, and just kind of a simple question that gets asked. And then, if you can have your audience members walking out of the theater still thinking like, geez, I don't know, like if they start putting themselves in those situations, I think those are the films that really survive and the ones that resonate the strongest with people.
There we go. And hopefully that's what we're going to be seeing from Whispers, right?
Hopefully we live
Right.
up to it. Yeah.
So Whispers is going to be in production starting in March, you said, of 2025. So a lot
That's
to
right.
look forward to in the coming year. James and I are going to be talking about some of the other things that we are most looking forward to in the 2025 in terms of media. Is there anything that you're looking out for, that you're obsessed with, or that you are, really want to see in the coming year as far as movies or TV that's coming out? Besides your own project.
This is purely the fan in me, but Arcane season two.
Arcane?
Yeah. Did you see the first season?
No, no.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So it was recommended to me and it's an animated series based off of a video game. And I
Hmm.
heard that. I was like, man, I'm not really, that doesn't sound like something I would like. And they were like, dude, promise, just the second you get bored, you can turn it off. And I ended up watching the whole thing in 2 days.
Wow.
I was just blown away by it. So Arcane season two, um, from a fan perspective, um, I'm really interested to see. I'm not certain if I'm going to pronounce his last name, but John Keogh. He has the Dead of Winter
Hmm.
horror film festival that's coming up in February, I believe. I'm not certain on the exact dates. But just hearing him talk about that, he shares the same sort of passion that you do for, bootstrap filmmaking and, making it happen here and that sort of, just enthusiasm towards the creators. And I'll be there. I'm excited to see what that's going to be like. Um, that's right around the corner. Really excited for that.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've got to get to more of those film festivals. Running around with the two kids, not always possible, but definitely I'm going to be trying to get down there to more of those local events, representing the hub on Hollywood and trying to get more voices heard and seen and all of that jazz in the coming year. Um, Gosh, I think in terms of media, you mentioned Arcane, which is animated. I'm looking forward to the live action One Piece season two, which is coming out next year because I'm kind of obsessed with anime and things like that.
Uh,
But all good things. We're excited for the coming year. We're very grateful that you were able to take the time to be here on the Hub on Hollywood, Colin. if you had one piece of advice to leave us with for anyone who is trying to either start their career, continue, who loves filmmaking, one piece of advice, what would you give them?
Man, these are such good questions. I would say um so it's kind of a two-parter. I would say be very careful where you get your advice from.
Mm,
Because I think naturally, like you want people to like what you want people to like your movie, you want people to like your script, right? But if you show it to 20 people, you're gonna get six people that say this and five people that say that, and like you're always gonna have this bombardment of different sort of perspectives. So I would say be very deliberate in what you ask for feedback,
mm,
right? So for example, if you have a script and you show somebody a part of that script, don't ask them, do you like it? Right?
right.
Because either they're going to be your friend and say, yeah, that's great, and that does nothing for you, or they'll offer you feedback and you'll just never be able to, you're just plugging leaks in a roof, right? Ask them, can you follow the action in this scene? Like, do you understand what's happening here? Just as an example, right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, I always say the best idea wins. So carries just, continue to be a student and stay humble. But once you have something where you're like, that's a film I would watch, stop taking ideas.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're going to go through so many iterations, it's not even going to be yours anymore.
Right. You're going to get
And
stuck in that cycle. Yeah.
you'll never know when it's good. Because
Hmm.
this, oh, you should change the ending, you should change this, you should change that, it would be really cool. And now you don't even know what the answer is anymore. So yeah, be very careful where you get your advice from and be very deliberate with what you ask for feedback.
All right. All right. Colin Langford, thank you for being here on the Hub on Hollywood. Best of luck with Whispers, and we hope to have you back again sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely, anytime. This was a blast. Thank you so much.